Okay, we're going to do a review over equivalent fractions. We have already learned this before. I'm going to teach you guys a new technique to compare them. Now, first of all, to review fractions, because some of us still get confused over fractions, we have our numerator over our denominator. Your numerator is the part, and your denominator is the whole thing. So remember, fractions are numerator over denominator, part over whole. So on this first figure, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are shaded, but there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total. So out of 8 pieces of this figure, 4 are shaded. On this figure, so we have a square over here, a rectangle, and then a circle over here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts are shaded, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's 8 pieces of that circle total. So when we compare these 4/8 to 4/8, those are equal. Those are equal fractions. They have the same numerator and they have the same denominator. Okay? On this side, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's 10 in my denominator, but 3 of them are shaded. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 total, so that's my denominator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of those 10 are shaded. Are these equal? Well, no. My denominator is the same, so I'm looking at my numerators. Which one is bigger? 3 or 6? 6 is bigger. 6 parts is greater than 3 parts. So when I compare these, 3/10 is less than 6/10. Remember, it's like an alligator is going to eat the most because it's really hungry. The open end is bigger, so it's based to the bigger side. That point is the smallest end, so it points to the smallest side, okay? So 3/10 is less than 6/10. Okay, those are pretty easy. This is where it gets tricky, where we struggled. Okay, so what I'm going to introduce to you is how to compare them, and when we're comparing them, think about a number line. So this first shape, I didn't draw it very well. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 pieces in the whole thing, so that's my denominator. 1, 2, 3, these are shaded. So my fraction of shaded parts is 3/8. Now, when I think about this on a number line, there's 0, there's 1, my half. If I think of the fraction with 8 on the bottom, what's half of 8? Half of 8 would be 4, right? So 4/8 is the halfway mark. So when I look at this, is 3/8 less than half, or is it more than half? Well, it's going to be less than half because 3 is smaller than 4. So 3/8 will be somewhere over here, okay? Now this next one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 pieces in my entire circle. And out of these 6, 1, 2, 3, 4 are shaded. Okay, I'm going to change colors. So notice my denominators are not the same, 8 and 6, but we can still compare them if we think about it in terms of a number line. Now, what is half of 6? 3. So at the halfway mark, I know 3/6 would be half of this. If half of this was shaded, the fraction would be 3/6. So when I look at my fraction of these shaded parts, 4/6, is 4/6 equal to 3/6, less than, or greater than? Well, 4 is greater than 3. So 4/6 is going to be somewhere over here. So when I go to compare them, I know that 4/6 is more than half, and I know that 3/8 is less than half. So I know 3/8 is going to be less than 4/6. So this is a brand new strategy that I have not been able to teach you guys since we've been out of school. And I had planned on going over this when we came back after spring break. Okay, let's try it again. You got two colors. So on these figures, I have 1, 2, 3. We have 3, 6, 9. There are 9 squares for the whole thing, so that's my denominator. Out of those 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are shaded. So my fraction is 5/9. This figure, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 total units in that figure, and 1, 2 of them are shaded, so 2/5. Again, my denominators are not the same. I'm going to think about it in terms of a number line. So there's my halfway mark between 0 and 1. Now this is an odd number. Can you take half of an odd number? What's half of 9? You can't give a whole number. It would be 4.5 because you would have a half left over. So we cannot have exactly half, but we know if, like over here, 4 is half of 8, and what's above 9, 10, 5/10 would be 5 is half of 10, so it's going to be somewhere in the middle, 5/9. We know that 5/9 is going to be over here more than half because, again, 5 is half of 10, so 5 is half of 10, and this 9 is smaller than the 10, then this has to be bigger. Now, 4/8 is half, so this would be, and this is more in your denominator, so that means a 5 has to be bigger than the halfway mark, okay? And you can see 5 shaded is going to be more than these 4 that are not shaded. So 5/9 is larger than the halfway mark. Okay, now 2/5. Again, 5 is an odd number. I cannot just take 5 and put it in half. I'm going to write 5/9 above here. But what I can do, I can think about it, well, I know that 2 is half of 4, but see, 2/4, if I covered that up, would be half. This is going to be less than half. So I know that 2/5 is going to be somewhere over here because I cannot get an exact half number for this odd digit in the denominator. But since 2 is half of 4 and 5 is more pieces than 4 pieces, this means this is less than half. And when I look at this, 2 is less than 1, 2, 3. So I know this has to be less than half. So when I look at this, I know that 5/9 is greater than 2/5. So the strategy and trick here is to think about these equivalent fractions on a number line. Draw a number line, draw a halfway mark, and think about, is this going to be equal or equivalent to half, less than half, or more than half? Put it on your number line. Same thing with this one. Is this going to be equivalent to half, less than half, or more than half? Kind of draw a dot. As long as you can figure out if it's less than half or more than half, then you should be able to easily compare them using this number line. So that's a brand new strategy that I planned on teaching you guys when we get back, when you have the different denominators. Now, when you have odd digits, that's a little bit trickier, but just keep practicing and think about in terms of where would the halfway mark be. And when you look at the picture of what's shaded, is more than half or less than half shaded. So that's a quick review about equivalent fractions.